Hello there. If you don't know me, I'm Jessica with Fantabulosity, and I wanted to do a video here on some updates that I have going on. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, then you probably already know that my family packed up and moved from Missouri to Montana, and everyone was shocked. Kind of caught off guard and surprised by that. And the reason was because we didn't say anything. And another reason was probably because a lot of people thought we would never leave home. My family's there, his family is there. But there is a very, very long story that leads up to why we suddenly moved. And I'm not going to share that all today because I'm still honestly trying to figure out how to word that or share that story with all of you. However, I actually have two deer standing in my yard looking at me right now, and it's super awkward. They're not afraid of me at all. Let me turn you around and you can see. Let's see. They're right. Oh, I'm backwards. Right there. They're closer than they look, but anyway, I wanted to share with you a little bit about why we ended up randomly in Montana, because the story behind it is so amazing. And if you are in the Fab Society group, which is a free Facebook group that we have, where a lot of us like-minded gals get together and share in things like confidence and meal planning and organization and product ideas and just so many things. I shared the story already in there, but I know a lot of you may not have Facebook or may not be a part of that group, so I wanted to share the story with you too. To kind of skip forward to what brought us to Montana, my husband and I, had a very, I'm cold too, so forgive me for my shivering. I should have brought a blanket, but my husband and I have had, and my two boys have had a very rough previous 3 years, and that is the story that I will share another day, and he's going to share a story too. A life-changing thing and things happened that really changed who we are as people, and for the good. But it also changed the goals that we had in life, or have in life. And I was really struggling. My husband was too, but I'm telling my story. So, but it was a very, very hard time. And that's part of the reason why I'm not ready to share the story yet, because I'm not mentally, I'm in a good place right now, and I can't go back there right now until maybe some time has passed. But I was questioning, even at that point, if there was a God. I was finding myself saying, where is God through all of this? I'm a good person. Why would he be letting this happen to us? I'd say it to my husband, you know, where is he? Why does this keep happening? And thank God that my husband is the Christian man that he is, because he reassured me and was there for me during those times, and reminded me to keep pushing on. But there were so many moments through those 3 years where I would just break, and I would just find myself, and I always call them my closet moments with God, where I would just go hide in the closet and just cry to God, because I would hide because I didn't want my little boys to see me so upset. But I would just pray, God, like, if you're, you know, if you really are with me, then please show me something. I'm here. And I had always wondered and struggled with, I knew there was a God, and I knew that he had shown me in the past that he's really there. But when you're going through a dark time, you really start to question things, right? But in those moments, I would struggle, because I would hear people say, oh, God spoke to me and he told me, and I would always think to myself, what does that mean? Like, is it a voice like on Bruce Almighty, where it's like, Jessica, this is what you need to do? And I was like, it can't be it. And so I struggled with that. And I'd even talk to my pastors and say, and what does that mean? And they would explain it to me, but I just didn't get it. And then one day, God spoke to me, and I'll never forget it. And in case you have found yourself too struggling with what that means, like, what does that mean? What does it sound like? What I want to explain to you what it means to me, or what it feels like. It's not necessarily a physical voice that you hear. It's almost like a feeling, an emotion. And you just know. You just know that. It's almost one of those things. For me, it was, he said something to me and I went, where did that come from? And at the same time, it was like, I don't get it. Where did that thought come from? But I'm not going to disregard it, you know? And I felt it inside and was just like, hang on to that thought. And it felt so weird and random that I didn't even say anything to my husband at that moment. I just kind of needed to keep it to myself. And what he said to me that day was mountains. That's all he said. And that's why I was like, what? Where did that thought even come from? I wasn't even thinking about mountains. I thought, the mountains, I'm a beach girl. Like, why am I thinking about mountains? And to make the story a little more interesting, as we move on, my husband and I spent not a lot, but some of our childhood coming out to Montana to visit a certain place, a certain ranch with a childhood friend. And I despised Montana, hated Montana. And it wasn't that I hated the state, it was I hated what life was like when we came out. We were younger, we were immature, we were running wild, and I just couldn't imagine living in a place with craziness, right? So I always resisted it. My husband always wanted to live in Montana, and he would say, oh, you know, maybe we can go stay in Montana some summers or something. And I was just like, no, you need to find a new life, because that's not ever going to happen if that's that important to you. Kidding, of course, but that's how strongly I couldn't stand it. So when God simply said mountains to me, I was caught off guard and just kind of like, okay. A couple days after that, I heard mountains again. Songs that were playing in the car were about mountains. People were talking to me and saying, when you climb that mountain, when you climb these mountains, the church service was on mountains. It was so surreal that one of the church services during this time, the theme was on mountains, but part of it was also talking about something bad that was going on in our life, which was my son experiencing a lot of bad seizures. And the message was on a story in the Bible about someone having seizures, and the whole thing was tied to mountains. And it was just not the seizures, but the lesson, and it was just things like that was just kept putting the word mountains in front of my face. And one night when my husband and I were sitting on the couch, very unromantic setting, I think watching live PD, honestly, it hit me, whether it was God's voice or whatever it was. It said, you need to go to Montana. You need to go to the mountains in Montana. And I was like, what? I don't like Montana. I don't like it. But the feeling was so surreal that I knew it was God telling me that we needed to be in Montana, even though I didn't know why. And I knew it wasn't forever, but it was just, Jessica, you need to be in the mountains for a short amount of time, for some time. And I looked over at my husband and I said, you are going to think I'm crazy. And he goes, okay. And I said, I think we're supposed to live in Montana for a little while in the mountains. And he looked at me like, what? Where did that come from? And I told him, I said, honey, I've been hearing the phrase mountains from God for some time, and I didn't know what it meant. I just kept pushing it down inside, and I think that's what we need to do. Well, my husband, being the guy he is, he got so excited, and first question, who was he actually talking to? This can't be my wife saying this. And he said, okay, hang on a minute. So he picked up the phone, called a friend who is the ranch manager of the ranch that my husband visited as a child and had fallen deeply in love with. And the guy answered, and he said, hey, you're not gonna believe this, but my wife said she wants to live in Montana for a little while. So do you know of a place for rent? She feels so strongly about this, we're willing to pick up everything and go. And he said, well, as a matter of fact, I do. He said, and it's crazy, but the ranch that you fell in love with, that you loved so much, that you thought you'd never ever be able to visit again because his childhood friends, the family had sold it. So my husband was devastated because he never got to say goodbye. It was during the really 3 hard years that we experienced, so he never got to say goodbye, and it was really hard because it was such a big piece of his heart. The ranch manager said, the new owner said last week, you think you could find somebody to rent out the house, come stay in this house for the summer? And it was like God had made that happen. It was just, everything just lined up so perfectly. And my husband said, we'll do it. Please. My wife feels called to be there, and this is heaven for me because it's just a dream I never thought would happen. And yeah, we'll take it. So fast forward a few months, we tell our families we're packing up, we're leaving everything we know, and we're gonna live in Montana for a while. We don't know if it's the summer, we don't know if it's longer than that. I don't think I can do winters. I mean, it's summer and I'm shivering and I like heat and warm. But that leads me to where we are right now. I don't know. My husband doesn't know why we're supposed to be here. God hasn't shown us that yet. But we knew that we're supposed to be here for a reason, and God would take care of us, and God will show us what we're doing. And so far, we've been here for a week. It has been one of the most amazing experiences we've ever lived. And we can't wait to see what God is putting in front of us, because He has laid it out so, I hate the word perfectly, because nothing in life is perfect. And I know life can be a roller coaster. There's ups and downs. But I feel like the mountains we have climbed in the last 3 years has led us to the mountains for a reason. And I think it's because our story is supposed to help somebody, maybe many people in some way. And we're just opening up our hearts to it and God, and letting Him show us what we're supposed to do here. So in case you were wondering, what in the heck are you guys doing? Like, where did this even come from? That's what it is. We are here, not for sure how long, not sure why, but God has laid out a plan for us, and we said okay. So we're relying on our faith and seeing what happens. So anyway, stay tuned for more. I'm going to be doing a lot of YouTube videos on things that we're doing. Already this week we've went hiking and went up on the mountains, and we're going to be going to Yellowstone. We're going to be doing so much, and I want to share all that with you, because for those of you who haven't been to Montana, it's absolutely stunning. I love Montana now. It's just a surreal experience, and I can't wait to take you on the journey with us and see what God has planned for us, and show you some amazing scenes and our scenery along the way. And if you are from here, or if you have visited, I would love to hear from you. Any tips are appreciated. Maybe where to buy a coat. But anyway, so that's it for now. I'll be sharing more about the 3 hellacious years that we had, because I think there was so much that had happened, life-changing, horrible, horrible things that happened, that we are thankful they've happened now, which sounds really weird, because it changed our life. It changed our marriage. Side note, we almost didn't make it as a married couple, and here we are, stronger than we were. It changed our way of living, thinking, changed our goals for life, or in life, and we want to share that because we truly believe it's going to help somebody in some way. So thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go get a coat and a cup of coffee, and I'll see you on the next video.